Hello everyone, welcome back. 448. Yep, a little bit late getting to it. Good evening to you too. I'm just gonna set it to that. Alright, let's see, what am I doing? Do I want to do a mission with this? Or do I want to play with the cob some more? 86 points. I guess I should probably do this one then. Oh, what the hell? I was I was gonna have an ice cream sandwich while I'm waiting because take a little bit to get into it. No, and then it decides city. Of course, we're gonna throw you straight in immediately. Now I need to wait on my ice cream sandwich. F-14. A lot going on. Electromechanical logic uses a lot of analog electronics to help operate mechanical systems. Top of that building. Yeah, I still got bombs. I should probably drop those. Hello there, pro. Yep, the F-14 uses a lot of analog electrical components, and the way that kind of works is similar to mechanical logic in that you create an analog between one thing and another. The easiest version of this is sound and traditional sound recording. You take the pressure wave of air, and that gets condensed into or changed into a analog electrical signal, which basically is the same pressure waves. Yep, with the way it kind of works is the diaphragm of a microphone reverberates when a sound wave hits it. And the magnet within that diaphragm induces an electrical signal in the coil that matches that same frequency that the pressure wave was at. And so then you can also do the inverse of that and use that electrical signal in that form to move the magnet and cause a change in a diaphragm in order to create sound. Yes, the magnet is used to induce current. When a magnet moves in space next to a wire, it causes an electrical current to happen in it. This is the law of inductance. And there's a bunch of other laws. I can't name them all, but back when I was doing my electrical engineering stuff and all the homework for that, I had to do those calculations fairly often. But yeah, basically, if you take a magnet and you wave it next to a wire, it will make an electrical signal in it. It's kind of how an electric motor works. If you put like four types of magnets, four magnets, two in South Pole configuration, two in North Pole configuration, and you move them around a central wire, it will create electricity within that wire in alternating current form.
Attention to the designated grid zone! Attention to the map! Attention to the designated grid zone!
And of course, you can then do the opposite of that and use an electric motor, which uses the electrical signal to push instead the magnets and cause them to move and rotate whatever the electrical motor is connected to. It's one of the really interesting things with electricity is how it's so reversible to what we do. Analog electronics in general is kind of all built on that principle. And then digital electronics comes around and just kicks all of that straight into the dirt and replaces everything with ones and zeros. Now there's like complex rules and logic to follow in order to get the same results. But the difference becomes the ease of manufacturing and the ease of reproducibility.
Attention to the designated grid zone! Attention to the map! Attention
Because now you don't need a massive analog system in order to calculate the same things that you can now do with a 12 nanometer chip with a few million transistors on it. I didn't expect any of those to hit. Yes, I am. I'm enjoying the Cobb. It's fun. It's just good old fun. Analog electronics? Gee, I'm not sure. I'd consider them one of the oldest forms. It would be one of the oldest forms of electronics just because how we learned to do electronics kind of came from mechanical systems in the first place. Kind of like everything in analog electronics, you can think similarly with a circle, if that makes sense. Mechanical systems basically all work on circles. And analog electronics worked on similar rules. You know, a sound wave is just a series of sine waves which can be expressed as a series of circles. Digital electronics, on the other hand, just kind of throws all of that out the window completely. I would say analog is as old as useful electronics itself, because analog would go back to at least alternating current, the direct current fight between Edison and Tesla.
Attention to the map.
Another place where analog is very important was within... What the fuck? Is within radar systems. And you can kind of see that expressed in War Thunder in how different radars work in this game. And we don't have enough of the new radars or how they work to do things where they kind of work on more of a scatter system. I'm not really sure how to say that one. But traditional systems that work on analog electronics basically, you know, bounce a wave, read it back. Whereas with a digital system, you may have a few thousand sensors within the head of that unit pointing at what you're trying to gauge distance on, and then reading an individual value from each of those 1,000 sensors, and then inferring and interpreting that into a usable signal for where your target is. Actually, I'm just going to continue this way. I was thinking I might go a little bit that way to get to the airport, but I think I'm just going to head back to this one. Yeah, things like radio is just the expression of an electromagnetic wave, which is done through the same way as... It's similar to sound, and similar to that electrical transmission change that I mentioned earlier with sound to electrical. The same can be used for sound, electrical, to radio waves, with a radio wave then being transferred back between radio wave to electrical to sound. You are right. In some circumstances, it absolutely is faster. An analog system will perform better and be more capable. The issues start to crop up with analog systems can only work for one thing. So if you design, say, an analog bomb sight, that computer for it, the analog computer for it, can only ever be a bomb sight. It can never be anything else. Digital logic systems, on the other hand, can be changed, reutilized, and adapt their system a lot more. This does make it slower in a way, and the way we've gone around that is just by using more of them. You know, we need more transistors then, so we made them a lot smaller. Now we can fit a couple billion. And because of that, now we can do anything with the same computer chip. You know, the same computer chip that'll run a missile system can now run your smartphone. It can run your car. It can do all of these things, and in a reproducible form factor that's very cheap to manufacture, on the pennies to produce. And it's like, even when talking with speed, a mechanical system is going to be the fastest. For you to, let's say, have an arm attachment that links to a robot arm, and you can mechanically move that by moving your arm. So the movement of that is only limited by the physics involved. There is no transmission into any other form. There's no change into electrical. There's no change to digital logic. Nothing like that is going on. So that would be the fastest of all the methods. The big thing with digital comes down to versatility and cost. Digital, extremely cheap to make. In comparison to all the other stuff, extremely cheap. And then the ability to just take a program, a code for it, and rewrite to the same chip 1,000 different ways to do things. I'd say those are three major ones. Yes, mechanical logic, digital logic, and analog logic. And there are other forms, but that's more when we're talking about the different forms they've taken in vehicles, for sure. Most likely. And I'm probably missing something too. This fella doing? But you can kind of look at the advancement in types of engineering as they exist. So I would argue one of the first forms of engineer is the civil engineer. Large public works, large buildings, roadways, those sorts of things that were foundational to society. After that kind of comes the mechanical engineers. Things like gearing, things like pulleys, rope logic, all of these sorts of things that could now be done once we understood a better mathematical way of dealing with those mechanical problems. I believe probably a lot of that stuff was coined by Da Vinci and his contemporaries. But some of the earliest aspects, because like civil engineering gives way to mechanical engineering in the way that they began to construct large siege weaponry. Siege weaponry would probably be one of the earliest forms of an applied engineer. Somebody that's not just working on expanding something, a frame of knowledge such as civil, but they are expressly employed to do something. And for these ones, it was to build siege engines. But from that, because they were constructed similar to buildings, you learn a lot of mechanical properties because you're using that building to actually do things with it. Other forms of this are like mills, windmills, grind millstones, And again, going back to all those, it's all circles. Everything circles. But after mechanical, I would say then comes the chemical engineers. Chemical engineering comes next. That leads to things like changes in materials, the idea of metallurgy, of being able to make customized metals. Usually because the mechanical engineers were now clamoring for it. We need specialized metals. We need metals that can do these things that we're now writing math that says we theoretically can do. So out pops a section of engineering that becomes chemical engineering. I would say then from chemical engineering, the applied knowledge of how chemistry works leads to advancements in electricity. And so from chemical engineering, we reach electrical engineering. And then from electrical engineering, we reach computer engineering. From computer engineering, then opens up the field of bioinformatics and the ability to study very large amounts of data in a small amount of time, leading to, I believe, bioengineering. Like a lot of the first electrical systems were mostly chemical engineers experimenting with things. You know, chemical piles, voltaic piles were original ways of doing electricity. And in the beginning, they were mostly just for tricks, like magic shows, things like that. Nobody really had any idea of what could be done with it. Bioengineering is a fairly new field, I would say, within the past 30 years. For reference, computer engineering is probably around 70 to 80 years old. Like even within those, you'd have a hard time taking somebody from the early years of it and putting them in a modern environment. The way we just deal with the problems is so fundamentally different. And the problems we experience are so fundamentally different compared to what they had then. I think bioengineering is going to lead to a mix of changes, because part of what bioengineering has caused is not necessarily stuff to do with biology, but our knowledge of biology. And an expression of this is in AI. Oh shoot. I hit him but broke my wing. But yes, Computers have allowed us to more accurately simulate the human brain and more accurately simulate neurons, chemistry, and everything else in general. And because of that, it has opened up our knowledge of how these systems work. And through that knowledge, we have further developed artificial intelligence. Nice. Cobb finished. Nice. But I don't think at the end of the day, bioengineering changes the fundamentals too much. Because it's all still going to be based in physics. Everything is still going to be limited by that. And an interesting topic there just comes down to biophysics. Which is the study of the physical property, movement, the vectors that expressed by every single component of your cells in your body. Like when DNA unravels, when DNA moves in your body, what are the actual physics and math behind that? And realistically, figuring that out is impossible without a computer. Like, we had a hard enough time just doing calculation tables before computers for things like lunar phases, tidal changes, things like that. The idea of us accurately understanding the physics for stuff that small, without a computer helping us, nope, not a chance. Ejected on the runway. To be fair, I felt the same at one point, and before I fixed my math knowledge, I went back and reassessed like everything from the beginning. It has been a very interesting journey in math. It's kind of like the newest ones that are really fascinating to me comes from AI and how it expresses a statistical average of us. And I think that's going to make for some very interesting next couple decades. And it's funny because like an AI representation then of our countries becomes country ball. And that's just weird to think about, is that it's like a forerunner to the AIs that will run us, that will be the expression of our nations and systems we exist in. think also one of the funniest things about logic systems comes down to the idea of Turing complete. And that if something is Turing complete, then it can represent all calculatable things that are Turing complete. And so by that logic, then any logic system can be used for anything any other logic system can be used for. Oh, shoot. Nope, didn't work. Like, that's why you can take redstone in Minecraft and build a computer with it. Is because the underlying logic of how that system works can be used to express logic gates, which then gates are used to build modern computing systems. You know, every computing system is just a stack of AND gates or NAND gates or stuff on top of each other at the end of the day. Just thousands upon thousands, millions and millions of gates, and that's it. And then it plays War Thunder. Rocky Canyon. I suppose that's an interesting thing to bring up, is math isn't incredibly needed. You need some level to understand it, but the math that is required is very different from the math that has been traditionally used. So one of the most important maths you can learn in computing is discrete math. And if you go and look up what discrete math is, you'll be confused for a second because it seems like real simple stuff. And at first glance it is. Because it's so different from what we're used to. But discrete math being the idea of, if I have a stack of boxes and you can only see one corner of it, how many boxes are in the entire group? Because you have to infer from what you know. But I actually have a book I want to do a series on called Systemantics that talks a lot about the development of systems, how they function, how they fall apart, and basically just the problems that they cause through their very existence. And a lot of the fundamental rules that come with systems theory. You know, all things are expressible as systems. And any system will grow to fill the available space available for said system. An example of that is our universe. I was thinking about doing a collection of videos for System Antics. Because I wanted to kind of go through each topic a little bit and discuss modern versions of it, because the book was originally written in the 70s. Math and other forms of knowledge take the form of quantitative and qualitative reasoning. Quantitative reasoning is mathematics, qualitative reasoning being how we write things. So quantitative is that we want to express a quantity and communicate it from one person to another. And so that's how we developed mathematics, was because it allowed us to better understand that and share that with others so that they would know as well what was going on. So that we could say, oh, 200 units that way, and they would understand what that meant. And then we started to develop more and more complex forms of dealing with math, such as, you know, the meme of ancient Egyptian algebra. Nope, I am not a teacher. I just get really into subjects, learn a ton about them, and then, yeah, that's just how it goes. If a subject strikes my fancy, then I will hoover up that knowledge. Well, thank you. I think I've been told that a couple times in the past. I had to help some people. When I was taking computer engineering classes, there was a requirement for all mechanical engineerings. I said I'm not a teacher, but when I was in college doing computer engineering, all of the mechanical engineers were required to take a computer programming class. And I helped a lot of mechanical engineers get through that programming class. But yeah, for most of math, and especially when it comes to engineering, it is formula. You grab the formula and you know how to use it, and that's it. For most professions, you don't need to know more than that. You know, it's kind of the idea of a mechanic to fix an engine doesn't need to know all of the mathematics behind how that engine works. They have a set of skills that is different from that. What they do is of different purpose to that. And so that's like when you get a when you get a group of them together in something, Hello? Where's he going? He's trying to run. I lost what I was saying. Sorry about that. I got chasing him and forgot. I'm gonna run out of fuel soon. Oops. I got distracted on him. No, I have not said what my profession is. I went to school for computer engineering and electrical engineering. In terms of most interesting projects I did, sun tracking, a helio tracker system would be one of them, for like how to turn a solar panel to track the sun. Maybe, but I'm definitely not a software engineer. They are the ones that make stupid money. I focused on computer hardware instead of computer software. I'm more trained for how to build like hardware-based systems. So I could. One of the funniest ones is I think one of my classmates ended up getting a job programming things like washing machines and writing the code for how like the front panel controls connect to everything in the washing machine. And it's like, you don't normally think about that as a profession, but that's totally, yeah, a profession. Is you could be working on computers for appliances. Or you get a job developing computer chips for NVIDIA, things like that. Another place is network engineers, IT. Computer engineering is just a very broad field. I would definitely say I focused on computer though. I took classes in microarchitecture, basically how to build a processor, the various parts and components that go into a computer processor, and how you might tell a machine how to build that. I've taken robotics classes. In terms of electrically focused, I did some stuff. Oh god, it was incredibly stressful. Engineering in general is very, very stressful. The STEM field will kick your ass if you're not prepared for it at all. Even when you're prepared for it, it's gonna kick your ass. Like, I had people in my major attempting to do like 21 credits a semester, and I'm just like, no, no way. That's insane. Don't do that to yourself. I was in for... No, I did take longer. 5 years? I was in. It's just with the amount of stress from it, don't overdo yourself. And it's very easy to overdo yourself in that kind of environment. I didn't get none. None for me. Can I get one of these ones? I think he wants me instead. Nope, that didn't happen. Nice. It was like the gunsmith and stuff. Just smithing in general. Great stuff. Metalwork. All of it. Although nowadays, moving a lot more towards plastic work. So many polymers. It's like now instead of learning 80 types of steel, you gotta learn 80 types of plastic. Nah, steel frames will never go completely. It's just too reliable at the end of the day. You know, a steel frame will outlive you. But in terms of like everyday carry, things like that, it's hard to beat light. You know, if you got to carry something around all day, the difference of a couple pounds can mean a lot. It's like how people love on wood and stuff until they have to carry something that's still wood compared to their polymer stuff. It's like, oh wow, that's heavy. That's what it is, heavy. But I'm also very interested in how things progress, the research and development involved. Like, I'm very excited to see advancements in things like smart weaponry, smart rounds, changes in things such as propulsion systems. Because the basics haven't changed in quite a while. And it feels like it's about time for it. Like it's coming. Some fundamental change in how it all happens is going to happen. I don't really know what, but something's going to come. Whether that's polymer cartridges that are electrically fired, you know. Oh yeah, the weight difference is noticeable. You know, it's kind of like one of the oddities that's going to be coming along with AI when it comes to that stuff. Maybe that person wants to hit that. You know what? They can do that. They're in an F4. They can have it. I'll let them have it. Go ahead. You can have it. But how we can use AI to recognize what parts of a product are required for the forces that product will be used for. And then we can remove all extraneous material that isn't actually needed for the structure. And in doing that, we can reduce the weight even more. It's skeletonization, I think, is what a lot of people know it as. Nope, he did hit it, but it didn't do a whole lot.
Cover me. Our victory is near. Sorry.
Can't particularly see where it is. Guess it was that. That works. Yep, it's been real popular there. Personally, I have mixed feelings on it within that community, just because of I'd be so worried about the tendency to snag on stuff. You know, I feel like I'm okay with an extra 2 ounces versus it getting caught on everything when I'm trying to maneuver it. But even small changes I've seen, like magazines that link with the weapon so that it can give you a readout of how many rounds are still in it. Kind of like video games at Halo. Anything like that. That's becoming a reality. You know what? I think I need to play an A10 match soon. Maybe not tonight, but maybe next time. I gotta do some A10 stuff. Nothing destroyed, but I flipped it.
Commencing attack.
Oh no, I clipped it. In terms of today, I'm not sure, but tomorrow's gonna be ground combat. $10% discount. I'm good there. I'm good, Gaijin. I'm good. Now, you want to make that an 80 or something? Maybe we can talk. Got here. They've got these weird things. I kind of love it. I love this design. It's so wild. You know what? I'm gonna take the Cobb out again. I think that's what I want to do. This might be the last one for tonight. We'll see how long it goes. How long it takes to even join a match. Hey, it worked. Like to use it a bit more. It is fun. If we're talking about the CV there. It's supposed to be. Is that a helicopter base? Because it's not.
Attention to the designated grid zone.
I think the nicest thing about strike aircraft is you get to start so far ahead.
Attention to the designated
That and
grid
meeting
zone.
the other strike aircraft on the way there and just passing. Hey, how you doing? Oh, off to bomb your stuff? Yeah, me too.
Need cover.
Nice. Next Wednesday. Yep, next Wednesday will be naval. I have a few different naval setups. Nothing much, but I have a little bit.
Destroy the target. We're winning. Need cover. Attack these sea points.
I'm out of it. There we go. Shoot.
The enemy is winning.
Not hit him at all. That was a failure. Back to base. And get shot down on the way. I think he recognizes I'm out of ammo. Oh, shoot. Went too low. I got out of the turn fight and then I just could not hit him. Couldn't hit him at all. Let's do one more. That one was short. Where am I at with this? Yeah, it's a bit too far. Let's see. Yeah, it fell short. We'll do one more F-14 match, and that's going to be it for tonight. Let's see if I can hit a bomb target. Now that I've said it, I probably won't. Let's see how this goes. Wish I could replicate this design from the dumps. Why does the second person sitting in there look so uncomfortable? Jester, you alright? You doing okay there, buddy? Can't tell if he just tried to lob a missile and it smashed into the side or what happened there. Fly the tennis court down the ravine. If I just stay low and follow this, if I can hit that bomb site up ahead. Canyon run.
Destroy the target!
I'm trying not to. I'm just hoping to not get noticed. Slowly making my way there. Feel unusually wide in this aircraft, I will say that. It's a very wide aircraft. Feels like I'm gonna scrape a wingtip against the side at any second. No, don't get anxious. Don't try and jump out of the ravine. Shortcut over there. Don't do it. You'll regret it. Just stay low. Keep it quiet. Got time. Stay low. Keep it quiet. And that Mirage is going to go hit my target. Damn it, man. Why you gotta play me that attack? Playing with my feelings, man. Well, I guess I have to have got my enjoyment out of the canyon running then. It is fun. Zoom. Maybe he won't destroy it? Hmm? He did not destroy it. Let's see if we can get a hit in before it disappears. Yeah, it didn't give me a lot, but it gave me a little. This one's closer. There's somebody heading for it, but I don't think they're going to destroy it. Okay, they didn't even hit it. They didn't even try to. Probably not, but I'm gonna drop what I got. Okay, so where are the other actual enemies? Is that the only one left? They only got 2 left. I'm betting the other one's still sitting on the runway. Because I think otherwise he'd have 100 points just for taking off. They would have 100 points because you get 100 just for taking off. You know, as long as you can write your name on it. Come in really fast, really low. I don't think they can hit me. Nope, it hit me. Good crash, though. Yeah. That's all for tonight. So I'll be playing Ground Combat tomorrow night. And I hope to see you all tomorrow. So until then, I hope you all have a good night. And goodbye.